it is up to you to decide what element of such mechanics actually is a useful pinpoint for you in your game.
Right.
If it is a useful pinpoint, then everything else about relationships, making them, developing them, changing them, losing them, and their consequences on anything else, mechanically, all of those will have the profile that works for your game, that is useful for your game. In other words, it is silly to say, let's engineer every last little bit of the thing we want in play so that we know it will happen, we know it will impact things, we know it will change, and we know what it will do. Covered.
Yeah.
Same as if you tried to do that for every last little movement, twitch, perception, effort, and outcome of, for example, combat.
Yeah.
Again and again and again, somebody says, if only we nailed down every last little corner of combat like that, we won't ever have an argument at the table again about what happens and life, and you know, then we can all go off to paradise and Judy Garland will be there and, you know, it'll be great.
And our combats will take 5 hours.
But no, they won't, because they'll be so realistic and so engaging and so perfect and have no argument and whatever that they will just... I'm telling you, it'll be paradise, man. I'm just working on that auto-fire rule for the M16 and the AK-47, and once I nail down precisely those things, going out to the range tomorrow. I'm checking it out. When I come back, I'll nail it down. It'll be great. You see that role-playing game design has often waxed and waned, shown a sine curve of designers going that way, and then it hits the table, and then everybody wheels it down and goes that way.
Yeah.
Right? And so what I'm trying to say is let's not do that. Let's not idealize maxing out the engineering and minimizing the engineering as if either one were an ideal.
Yeah.
Instead, we say, in this game, how would, for example, relationship material be enhanced by a quantity associated with it right here? And is it a quantity associated with how much I feel, or is it a quantity associated with how much that person gains from it, rather than what I'd gain, or about me, but what, you know, is it about me? Is it about them? Which way is that quantity going to go? Is it going to be what happens if I break the relationship? Or is it going to be about what happens if I don't? In other words, where is the quantity? And what does it do? Maybe the relationship itself has no exact quantity associated with it, but you get quantitative effects from having it, like Trollbabe. You can invoke a relationship for a reroll. All relationships are basically equal, quantitatively speaking. You'll notice in Trollbabe, there is no value for an individual relationship relative to another one. You don't have a relationship 3 with this guy and a relationship with 1 for 1.
Yeah.
I'm losing all my prepositions. A relationship scored at 3, a relationship scored at 1, and so therefore this one gives you 3 rerolls and this one gives you 1 reroll. That's not the way it works in Trollbabe.
Right.
They just have the relationships. If you have more relationships, then you can invoke, you know, more of them for rerolls. But that's the only quantity involved. So do you see my important point about over-engineering? You could have the reroll mechanics that you have in Trollbabe, but then you over-engineer it by piling on the quantities of each relationship too. You could even over-engineer it more than that. You could say how much benefit you get from confirming the relationship in a scene versus how much benefit you get for problematizing it in a scene. You see how I'm getting how things are starting to look a little bit like that combat system?
Yeah. I can already think of more mechanics to pile on.
Oh, yeah. You see what I'm getting at? Piling them on isn't the point. The point is to find which one you want to nail down for this game find out which other ones seem fun to feed into it and fun to feed out from it, and also recognizing that all the other parts of that will handle themselves very nicely as epiphenomena of these. Trollbabe is very clear in play in terms of which relationships the character over time turns out to value more than others. But it's not because there's numbers that wax and wane. In other games, like My Life with Master, those relationship scores, the amount of love that actually has successfully been invested in the relationship, but relative to how much self-loathing is associated with it as well, not just with, well, self-loathing is a character, a generic character feature, but seeking to get love from a relationship always succeeds. The question is whether you get self-loathing too. So if you're running around looking for love all the time, you're kind of risking racking up your self-loathing along with it. So the, but do you see in that case, the rating is what matters.
Yeah.
And that's good. So it's not that rating a relationship is good or bad. The point is, what is it doing in the game relative to everything else in the game, other mechanics in the game? And you will quickly find that at this point, somebody can say, gee, Ron, aren't relationship mechanics narrativist? And I just go, oh my God. That is not the way you look at mechanics.
Yeah.
You have to say, for My Life with Master, seeking love, how does that relate to self-loathing? Now, what sorts of things can you use love as a mechanic to get things done? The answer is, well, no, you can't. Sorry. You can use self-loathing to get things done. Of course, they're usually really super shitty things. But what's also important is when one is dealing with the master, you quickly find that self-loathing works against you. And you also find that the amount of love you've racked up actually helps you defy the master. There's a variety of other things. Reason and fear, these atmospheric variables, they change during play, particularly fear.